And yet again, it says orientation is locked, rotate device back. It's not true. It does it every time. I've done it recently and I've changed nothing. Right, just bear with me, people. Let's just get set up at this end. As you can see, I made it back. Yes! Another trip under my belt. So just before I went live, I was working out exactly how many kilometers I've driven on that trip. Now, this doesn't include the kilometers that I drove because I had to fly back for 3 days, right? And I had a hire car from Hamilton Airport to shuffle me around the local area, home and back to work and that kind of thing. So that was about 350 approximately kilometers, and the trip itself in the ute was 4,191 kilometers exactly. And I know that because I've got into the habit now of taking a photo of the dash in the ute at the start and the dash in the ute when I roll back up the driveway. It's actually quite a good way of recording it all. 2 photos, cost nothing, there forever, right? So probably, about round that up to 4.2, 4.5, 4.550, all up 3.5 weeks. That's not bad going. But what I found was really surprising is on the, if I can get you one of the photos brought up, there we go. Look, it's really blurry because whoever had the ute before me sprayed something on the dash and I can't get it off. Just zoom in. That was the start case, just there, look. It's going to be backwards to you, isn't it? So 51869 that reads, okay. And we just go back and I'll find you the most recent one, which is that one. And that one is 56060. Okay, cool. Job done. What was really interesting was on the trip meter, the Isuzu, which is the only good thing about the ute, records driving hours as well as just the kilometers. And I've never really worked out driving hours before, but seems the car does it for me. Perfect. And during that trip, I did 72 hours of driving in the ute, plus another 7 hours of driving in the car, the hire car, during that sort of trip. So 79 hours of driving in about 3.5 weeks. That's a lot of drive time, to be fair. A lot of drive, especially when driving isn't my main role. I've got a job to do as well. So I put a lot of hours in. There was, in fact, there was 14 visits, each of 3 hours, 3.5 hours. They were never shorter than that. And then I had 2 field research days where I was doing research work. And then I had another meeting, which was about 2 hours long. And then there was all the admin work, early mornings, in the gaps, on an evening, that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm knackered. And I got home, well, actually more about what happened when I got home. Let's find out who's in the workshop. We have Purple Monkey 1974. Hello, Andy. Good morning, Purple Monkey. Welcome back to the workshop. It's really good to be back here again. This is my, as Alan would say, and we all know who Alan is. He's the lad he's the chap, he's older than I am, a lot older, sorry Alan, that has the trump, okay? He would say, Andy, when you're in your workshop, you're in your happy place. And he's absolutely true. It is my happy place. It's, it's like playing on your home ground, it's just, this is what I do. Roger Heaps, good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger, and a massive thank you from Mrs. Mechanic and me for all your assistance in the purchase and storage of the Myford, yes, you heard me right, Myford woodworking lathe. Now, I have no idea what model it is, but I got Mrs. Mechanic to help me unload my truck yesterday. And of course, as we're digging our way in, and it was extremely full, we dug our way in because she goes, what have you bought now? And I was setting her up, right, because we knew that was going to be the case. What have you bought now? And I just sort of, oh, just a box, because it was lied down flat. You couldn't quite see the lady stuff. It was still hidden. It was just a metal box. I was, oh, it's a metal box. Oh, well, why did you buy that? And then the conversation drifted off into something else. It wasn't that important, obviously. And then me and Ben had got the truck emptied, and then we lifted the lathe out, and there it is. She'd gone in to make cups of tea and coffee and stuff, and she came out. There it was, and she's like, and she's looking at it, and she's looking at me, and she's looking at it. That's not a box. Why have you bought that? I said, what do you mean? It's a lathe. Obviously it's and she twigged that it was a woodworking lathe, not a metalworking lathe, which really surprised me and Ben, to be honest. We were like, holy crap, because we weren't expecting that. Anyway, it sort of dawned upon us, happy birthday. That's your birthday present, a woodworking lathe. And she's wanted one for ages. So it's now up in her potting shed for storage. And as soon as we've built the mirror shed, we're calling it, because it's the mirror shed of Ben's shed, but it's a little bit bigger. That will be our woodworking shed, and it's going to go in there and we'll get it all set up, and she'll have a nice woodworking lathe. But we've got to buy her some chisels and woodworking chisels and bits and pieces to go with it as well. So it's still work in progress, but she's over the moon. All I see, I was saying to her while we were having our coffee, I said, I bet that lathe's seen quite a few accidents over the years. She just laughed. Hopefully no more. So thank you again, Roger. Really appreciate all your help. It was an early morning start for me. It wasn't for you, obviously. But Roger stored the lathe for us, and then I turned up early one Friday morning, and my car was already half full of crap, so we had to clear all that out, put the lathe in, repack the car, and then Roger had to rush off to work. But no, I really couldn't have done it without you, Roger. Absolutely couldn't have done it. And I didn't ask for permission before I bought it. Or did I? Maybe I did on that occasion. But Roger was more than happy to go and pick it up for me. Very, very, very grateful. Jim K, service call. Have a good street. Oh, man, you got to go on the road, Jim. Okay, well, good luck. It happens to all of us. I'll talk to you later in the week. I've got visit. I'm on the road again Monday to Thursday, and I've got Friday off. So I'm sure you'll try and call me, and we'll have a chat whenever I can. I'm sure you'll be successful. Simon, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. You know your way around here. Richard Perry, Andy and crew. Hi, Andy and crew. Hope all are well. Yes, well. Cigarettes come out. What the hell? Too much talking, Andy. Bear with me. So I got home, what was it, about 6:30? Yeah, about 6:30 Thursday night. And Ben was planning to come down from Auckland as well. And he had to go and buy some cement. He says, I'll get the cement. Your truck's too full. I'll get the cement. I really had no room for cement. So he picked up the cement, but he didn't leave Auckland until, God, probably about 8 o'clock. So he had a late night drive. He got here about, he actually made a really good time. I haven't asked him how he made good time, but he seems to like driving that Patrol around now, the one that the long wheelbase that we bought. And he got here just after 10:30, so 2.5 hours. He was obviously foot down. Good lad. And so I had to stay up till then. Or did I? I think, yes. No. I'd gone to bed. I was knackered. But we decided the following morning that we had to do the concreting. We've fitted now the 3 big posts. And if you're really lucky, I'll take you outside and show you. The 2 big posts that go, the 200mm by 200mm, they go 1 meter into the ground, and then they go up to the rafters of the side port. And then there's already one that was already in that we did for the roof, and then there's one on the far end, which is a shorter post, which is just retaining wall. But the main 3 will also form part of the back wall, for the shed. So they're serving 3 purposes. They're holding the roof up a bit better. Not that it's weak, because it's not, but it's more support for the roof. It's providing something to screw to for the back wall of the shed, and its main role, the main role is the retaining wall. So the concrete's now setting, and next Friday, which I've taken off a day in lieu, basically, because I worked a lot of weekend days down in the South Island. I've got the Friday to build the retaining wall, to put in the horizontal planks, bolt them all up, and then we've got some black plastic sheeting to go behind it to stop the moisture, any kind of runoff coming through the wall. We don't want that. And then I've got to backfill it with Trevor, which should be interesting and pretty quick, to be fair. And then that stage is then done. And then when we save up again, we'll be able to build the shed. And the last thing we'll do will be concrete the floor of the shed. We find it better to concrete the floor after the shed's built rather than before. That's just how we do it. It keeps the rain off. It seems to work pretty well. So we'll have a little look. We'll stray outside if all goes to plan a bit later on. JJ. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, JJ. Welcome back to the workshop, matey. Peter Swatman. Hi, Andy and crew. Good morning, Peter. Welcome to the workshop. Mr. Haynes, Jim Haynes. No races today, not until next Saturday. Well, you've got the day off. You can do things that you want to do. Or maybe you'll be given a list of things that need to be done around the house. That's usually what happens to me. Yes. And yesterday was a clean-up day. So Friday was doing the concreting, and then yesterday was empty the ute, get the lathe out, find space for it, and just a general tidy up. And Ben helped us do that, and it was fantastic. We've got a lot of stuff tidied up, cleared under the carport, moved a lot of stuff around, put some pallet boxes down the garden, had a bit of a tidy, a bit of a shuffle around down there as well. So it worked out really well. We're sort of reset now, which is good, because I've been away for a long time. It feels like ages. Kill Switch BB. Hey Andy. Hey Andy buddy. A long time no see on here live. Just busy with life. Sorry. Hey mate, we're all busy with life, and the one good thing, one of the good things that happened while I was away, is I got caught up with all my future videos. I'll be very careful how I put this across. You all know what I'm talking about. One of those videos, I have to apologize now because I may not be around when I launch it. Who knows? It sounds very morbid, doesn't it? But one of them it's 2 parts, and it's to do with ROV work, keeping it loose. The first half, I got a bit carried away with the editing. The first half is 2.5 hours long. It's a very long video, right? It was a lot of filming. It was like for over 3 days. And then the second half is just under 40 minutes. So it's a bit unbalanced, but I wasn't going to re-edit it. I just wasn't going to do that. So, and I hadn't done a piece to camera at the end of sort of the midpoint. So it is what it is. You'll enjoy it. You'll stick it at the back in your workshop, put it on play, and it'll be like me working in the corner of your workshop for a few hours. But there's some interesting stuff in it, actually. And that forms part of a suite of videos that I've done for the future, which I think you'll find them all a little bit interesting. And I'm sure they'll actually be, even though they're, well, I can't say, but I think they'll also be quite helpful for some people, even though I'm not fixing anything. Think about that. Okay, Simon, now she can make a wooden cosh to bat you with, lol. She did ask what she could make, and we said, well, you're probably better off starting with bowls first. Bowls are usually quite, I think, quite easy. I think I made a bowl. I did make a bowl when I was at school during my O-level woodwork. So bowl, if I can make one, then bowls are quite easy. And then you can make lots of banister railings. You can make, I mean, most houses don't have 2 stories in New Zealand, so you probably won't sell them anyway. Or you can make, sticky things with patterns on, or whatever. She'll come up with something. She wants to make a bowl. In fact, she said, oh, bowls. Yes, I want to make a bowl using crayons, like pencil crayons, which you glue them all together in like a resin, and then you stick it on, and you make a bowl, and you get all the colours of the pencils. And I have seen someone do it on Facebook. There was a little video on there, popped up about maybe a year ago, and it looked really cool. So I was like, oh, sounds good to me. So we'll see. Now then, where do we get to? The Giant. Good evening, Andy and crew. How are you doing, Andy? Well, pretty knackered. In all honesty, I am. You, ooh, the internet suddenly got really, really bad at this end. Really bad. Hopefully, it's okay at your end. But man, we just instantly pixelated. That's not good. My apologies on behalf of Spark New Zealand, who I emailed yesterday after, obviously, I got the internet working, right? So here's a little story for you. In fact, let's put the pie in and then we'll have the story because it's a reasonably good story. Okay, so this is the pie for today. Steak, egg and bacon. Mrs. Mechanic is certain that I haven't done this yet. It's made by Bake Shack. As you can see, yes, their ink's still pretty crap on the packets. It just rubs off. Come on, Bake Shack, sort yourselves out. Okay, so here we go. Let's get it in the pie warmer because I've had no breakfast. I'm hungry. And it might just give me that second burst of energy for the live stream. Okay, so there you go. Steak, inside there is some steak, some bacon, which can not only make it better, and some eggy, okay? Structurally, it's pretty sound, isn't it? Okay, turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. And the phone's still telling me that the orientation's wrong, but I know it's right because I can see it on my laptop. Okay, so in we go to the pie warmer. Boom, 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 boom. There we go, look. Nice. Obligatory 23 minutes. And no, it hasn't been cleaned. Not at all. It's quite grubby in there now. Dum, 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 dum. The workshop. Okay. Hey, tell you what, should we go outside? Let's go outside. Come on, we'll go outside. Hopefully we shouldn't lose signal because it's all working up there now. But more on that shortly. So we're going to jump back to the retaining wall. Are you ready? Trevor the Tractor. Okay, so we have the first big post all the way up there. Nice. And we have the second big post all the way up there. Nice. And then, can I get over this? I can get over this now. Hang on. Bear with me. Oh, Jesus. Oh, the wire. We found out what the wire was. It looks like it's somebody's phone line. Not anymore. Right. And that's the one that we put up for the roof. That was already there. Nice. And then over here, this is what we call this one Stumpy. This is Stumpy. This is just for the retaining wall. And I can probably go around this side actually. There you go. So these bits, don't get confused. These bits are only on to make sure that all 4 posts are in alignment. Okay, help with the alignment. The retaining wall will actually, these like you call them posts, these bits of wood, right? These planks will actually be on the back side of these posts, not on the front. They were just put on the front temporarily to line up the posts. But no, it's looking pretty damn good actually. Very, very happy. Getting dripped on here. Very happy. And they are super in alignment. We did a really good job. Spent a lot of time putting them into alignment. So happy with that. Right, so we'll have to go around this way. Now we can go this way. Sorry. And that's the tap. That's the water pipe that I cut through. Interesting stuff, isn't it? Right. I'm not a builder, but I try because I need another shed. Mrs. Mechanic did all the tamping. Lots of concreting. I think about 4 mixes. Oh, Jesus. About 3.5 mixes went into that one hole. And each one is 1 meter deep. So it's going nowhere. It's very good, actually. Okay, back into the workshop. Closing the door. There we go. Okay, so the pie is in. We've done that. And now it's story time. Oh, and I've got a new tool. I'll show you my new tool as well. Okay, that's about right. Okay, so. Oh, the internet's not too bad. Okay, so just give me an update, lads, on the quality of the image. Mine is a bit better. So, internet. During the building of Ben's shed, somehow, the wire from the modem, which is up on that shelf somewhere, other side of the door over there. It's not quite on camera. The cable went through a wall, and the hole in the wall wasn't big enough to get the cable out. I think it was maybe the internet guy, Vodafone guy, that came down and installed it originally. He put the end on the cable once he drilled the hole to make the hole as small as possible in the wall. But it meant that I couldn't remove the cable very well, and it was because then it was down the gap between my shed and Ben's shed. There's a void in the wall when he panelled his wall, and I couldn't do anything with it, so I just cut the cable, as you know. And Roger in Invercargill gave me some details of, I think it was his sister, Roger, I think, who'll be able to help me out with the cable. Well, as it turned out, I forgot. I got to Queenstown, and I was like, oh man, can't go back, obviously. Forgot to do it. So when I got up to Christchurch, I went to, it was on the Saturday, I went to J-Car. Well, actually, I tried a few places. Most of them were closed. Most of them just laughed at me. I tried a few places in Queenstown, they laughed at me. That's right, I tried a few places at Queenstown, they had no idea what I wanted. They just didn't even recognise the cable. So, like, no Leeming, Mitre 10, Bunnings, just not a chance. So I went to J-Car in Christchurch, and I said, look, this is the cable. I need some, basically make a longer one. I need some coax, and I need a couple of ends. The connectors, and these are the connectors that I need. And the lad recognised the connectors, but didn't have any. So he couldn't help me. And he said, well, we've got some coax. It's similar, but it's not actually the same. I thought, well, just a wire, right? It should be all right. So I left it. I went down to Timaru. I had a couple of visits to do down there, and then I ended up back in Christchurch. I thought, right, I have a plan. So I went back and I said, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the original cable, the ends that have the two halves that I've already cut. That was one, and we'll just insert some coax in the middle to extend the cable. That way we don't need to buy new ends. All I need is something that will allow me to connect this coax properly. So he had some, I believe they were just CB radio. In fact, they're in the box. Let's go and get them. Hang on. They're in here, look. I remember I bought some spare ones. So there we go, look. In there, in the drawer. Nice. Okay, so come on back over here again. Come over here. Okay. Come over here. Turn you around. Boom. Right, so these are RG259s or something. It's many years ago that I used to do a lot of CB radio stuff. I used to make up all the coaxes for our little Suzuki Jeeps and Patrols and things. And these look exactly the same. So your coax goes in that in there, look. And it's threaded, so you can like wind it in and it gets a nice purchase. And then you stick the core piece down through here, and then you just solder it in. And you've got to make sure, if I can take the outer off, you've got to make sure, oh, man down, there is a little gap. You see the gap through there, look? You've got to make sure that your outer sheathing, or any of the you've got the braiding that goes down the outside, and there's little tin foil and stuff. Make sure that none of that is touching the center pin, otherwise it sort of shorts. It does in my view anyway. It doesn't work with the CB radios if you do that, but I thought, well, I'll do it the same way. And then I bought a joiner, you know. So I suppose a couple of female, back-to-back female, and that way I could solder one of these on each end. And so I had 4 of these to fit, and I had 2 of those that I used. And it seemed to work pretty well. I checked for any kind of shorts to ground, i.e. from that center pin to the braiding, open circuit. Good job, Andy. Checked continuity through all the joints from one end of the cable to the other once it was finished. That was all good. So things were looking pretty good. Got it all plumbed up, yes. And I sort of aimed the aerial to the general direction to where I thought it should be. And sure enough, we had internet, which was brilliant. And then I did a speed check, and it was pretty crap, in all honesty. 3 megabytes per second upload, which is what I need for my live stream, is the upload. And 3's, they say 4 really, minimum, and we were on 3 yesterday. I've not done a check this morning, but looking at the quality, it doesn't look very good to me. So I emailed what is now One New Zealand, used to be Vodafone New Zealand, with a screenshot of the very poor upload speed, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. It may well be that we have to just go for something totally different, but we have got fibre now coming into the village, so it may well be in a few months' time we'll have fibre will be operational, and we'll try fibre. Now, some people have warned me about fibre, that it's not as good as you think it's going to be, Andy. But, you know, maybe it'll be better than what we've got. I don't know. So maybe we'll try it in the house first and see if we can get the house one to work better. And if the house one's good, then we'll just get it extended out to the workshop. That's the plan. Anyway, I've dropped something on the floor. I'm going to pick it up. If I don't, I'll stand on it. So bear with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, pie's in the warmer, cooking. You got the story about the internet cable, and it was a bit of a palaver, to be honest. And the lad, when I explained to him what I wanted to do, and I said, I'm going to use the old two ends and just add some in the middle, and then we can use any connectors. He was like, it was like a light bulb pinged above his head. He's like, that's a good idea. I said, well, let's keep it simple. You know, we've got to solve the problem with what we've got and what you've got in stock. Because I've got to have the internet when I get back home. You know, I've got to get it up and running before Sunday, before my live stream. Otherwise, I'll be screwed. Because I can't run it off my phone, because my phone's only got an upload speed of 1.5 megabytes a second, which is half, which is even crap. It's really bad. That's actually quite a strong coffee. Now, next, I bought myself a new tool. Now, in fact, let's go and get the old tool first, and I'll show you what I bought, and then we can compare. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, lots of wandering around the workshop. Probably the internet is going to crash again. That's what I get to see, look. I mean, you can see how crappy that is. Probably double crappy now. Anyway. So, in one of these drawers, there we are, look, that one. This is my homemade special tool. Doesn't look a lot, does it, really, to be fair? It's just an old bit of metal that's been thinned down. You'll have seen this in some videos. It's got a radius around the end, and the thickness is thinned down at the end as well. And this is for undoing the inspection covers on many different brands of motorcycle around where the flywheel is. You know, the stator and the flywheel. And it sits in there really well, and it doesn't chew up. A lot of people use screwdrivers, and they do chew up. And you know when somebody's used a screwdriver, because it just basically mangles the plastic or the metal. Especially plastic. It's really bad on plastic. So years ago, I just knocked this up out of pure frustration. And it served me very well, and it obviously cost me nothing. Now, I was in Bob McCleary motorcycles in Rangiora, and I don't know how. I think we were looking at a bike. Yes, we were looking at a bike, and one of the mechanics was undoing one of those covers with the screwdriver, and I was like, it'd be nice if you know, if there was a special tool for that. And we got talking about it. He says, "Oh, no, I don't think there is." And I explained to him what I'd made at home. It took me like 5 minutes to make it on the bench grinder, or in fact, it would have been the bench grinder because I wouldn't have had the belt back then. And I said, well, I wonder if somebody makes one. So I went into the parts department and we went online and had a little look. And we found a couple of different brands, and they do. This one is my Motion Pro. A pretty good brand, actually. I think they're American Motion Pro. Genuine tools and accessories, motionpro.com. And this is a timing plug wrench, they call it, and its part number, I'll have to read it out to you because it's all backwards, 08-0087. And it's on the screen there, look. And there's also another label on the back. So obviously very label happy. And I haven't opened it, so we will open it now because, you know, people like to open things on camera, don't they? It seems to be a thing on the internet. So that'll give me an extra view. There we go. Right. First of all, double check that all three staples are still visible, because I don't want one end up in my coffee. And I did actually drink a staple once when I was a kid, and it was not pleasant. Okay, so the bag is still sealed, so we're gonna have to destroy the bag. Bear with me. There we go. Right. Okay. And this one, if I get it out of the bag, there we go. Look. Right. Get rid of the bag. This has 3 different sizes. So we've got, I suppose, the equivalent, not quite as sharp a radius, but probably more accurate, to be fair. And it is a lot thicker than mine. So there is a possibility it might need to be modified a bit for my application for the particular brand that I work on. But I thought, well, I'll get one because it'd be interesting to see how good it is and do a bit of a review on it, you know, as I'm using it. Is it good? So when I come to have to work on one of those, I'll try this first and we'll try it on camera. But that's a fair wedge at the end there. Look, it's pretty thick. That must be at least, yeah, it's about 3 mil. About 3 millimeters, which I know for a fact on some of them is too much. So this is going to have to get modified a bit, I think. There is a smaller one there. That's a lot thinner. And there's a medium-sized one, which is, you know, medium thickness. But I think that one is definitely going to be too thick. Definitely for my application. But anyway, and it was, yeah, sorry, Mrs. Mechanic and children. I've spent some of your inheritance again. It was, including GST, so including tax, $50. Now, for that tool costing $50, very expensive. It's extremely expensive. It's not worth $50. It's just a chunk of metal that's been stamped. $25? Yeah, that's sort of the kind of maybe $30 at a push is sort of the value I'll put on it. $50, pretty damn expensive. So, there are other brands out there, and I'll keep my eye open for another one, a different brand, and we'll see if the ends are different, because this one I think is going to be a bit of a, I don't think it's quite right, in all honesty. Bit of a disappointment, because I only saw a photo, basically the image that you could see online when I ordered it was just that. It didn't give you any photos like that, otherwise I'd have known how thick it was, and I wouldn't have ordered it, because I'd have known there and then, that's not going to work. But anyway, it's all good. Now, let's do some more comments. You guys are very good at comments. I do appreciate it, because it keeps me going. So, Mrs. Mechanic can make a wooden cosh to bat you with. She may well do, to be honest, because you know, I do deserve a good battery now and again. I'm not the saint that you all think I am. No, you don't really. You know what I'm like. For James, good evening, Andy and crew. Done that one. The real Daz 03. Pete, smash the like, guys. Good day to all. It's been a while since I've been here. Well, welcome back, Pete. It's good to have you back on board, matey, and back in the workshop. Jim Haynes, it's already 5 p.m. here, so pretty much done for the day. Well, I hope you had a nice day and did a few things around the house, in the workshop, and, you know, just did things that you wanted to do. Have a bit of you time, because it's important to have you time. Simon just had a veggie Scotch egg. Right. Was an egg wrapped in an onion bhaji. Ah, okay. Sounds odd. Sergeant Joe Smith, News Network. I think it was just Sergeant Joe Smith before. I think that's increased. News Network, very good. Hello, Andy Mechanic. Is that a Kubota tractor? It is. It's a B3150. I got a Kubota tractor and a backhoe a bit bigger. Greetings from Arkansas. I can pronounce it now. US of A. If I had any larger tractor, especially with the number of sheds we've built around the garden now, I'd be knocking them down. Trevor the tractor, we call him, is a phenomenal piece of kit. I was driving it around probably for 2 or 3 hours yesterday, moving shit around. It's so useful. It really is. We've got, for the front loader, we've got a 4-in-1 bucket, and we've also got a set of forks, adjustable width and everything, and they're both on quick hitch. Quick hitch. Basically, you can fit them really quickly. Anyway, move a lever and they're on. Simple as that. Not having to move any pins and crap like that. And then there's the backhoe, which has got the bucket with the teeth on it, which is good for digging big holes. And I have dug some big holes with it, and ripped things out of the ground with it, which is nice. And we've also got, which we haven't yet used, and I get reminded that we haven't used it yet, but there's a reason. I bought an auger for the back. So under this bench somewhere is the big hydraulic motor. Down the garden on a pallet is the auger bit, which is a 400mm bit. It's the biggest bit that it would take, and that they reckon the tractor could cope with. But we haven't used it yet. And we've put lots of posts in the ground, but there's a reason, and the reason for that is it turns out that our garden, our back garden, and our front garden, probably worse, is littered with shit pipes and drainage pipes and other stuff that you absolutely do not want to put an auger through. It would turn into a bit of a shit fest. So we've dug the holes manually. And to be fair, they don't take that long to dig, and you can make them nice and square so they match the posts and that kind of thing. And it's peace of mind. So far, and water pipes as well, by the way. So at this end of the garden where we're working at the moment, and even when we put the potting shed up and did the deck for that, they were all dug by hand. When we come to do the big shed down the bottom, then maybe. I need to get some more plans off the castle to be sure, because there seems to be a lot of stuff going on under the ground around here. And I don't want to be the one that destroys stuff and have to pay to fix it. I'd rather just dig the holes manually. So was it worth buying? Should I have bought it? Probably not. I know Mrs. Mechanic's going to laugh her head off now. But in hindsight, because I had to get the tractor plumbed up as well for the auger. That was another grand. And then the auger and the bit was about $1,500, I think. So that's $2,500 that I've actually not benefited from the spending at all. Felt good that I bought an auger. I felt this is going to be cool. But then I had to think about using it. And I'm really pleased that we hadn't, because we would have gone through a number of shit pipes by now. Not good. Not good at all. Let me just scroll back up because you guys are full bore. Looks like quality's reappeared, which is nice. On the transmission. Connor K. Morning, Andy and crew. Sorry I'm late. That's absolutely fine, Connor. Good for you to join us. Retired old sailors just aren't that dependable. I really didn't want to get out of bed this morning. Mrs. Mechanic said, why are you doing another live stream? You did 2 or whatever it was while you were away. Yes, 2 while I was away. Why are you doing another live stream? I'm like, well, the viewers want to know that I made it home safely. It was a long trip. I was away for nearly a month. It was hard, Been away from home, away from my workshop, away from Mrs. Mechanic. And I mean, it was a bit of a traumatic trip as well, as you will. I'm not going to go into that, but it was a bit traumatic. It was hard not being here. Anyway, so thank you, Connor. Appreciate the comments. John Nuttall, Andy, question: are the bobbins on the brake discs meant to be free to turn? I can't find a definitive answer. I think it depends on the quality of the bobbin. So the bobbins hang on. Okay, sorry. So I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of the bike stands. So the bobbins, like a big rivet, basically, isn't it, between the steel brake disc and the center mount? They can get pretty damn loose. And the main reason for them, I believe, is to minimize heat transfer. I think. Could be wrong. But they do fail the warrant here in New Zealand if there's too much play, if they get worn. Maybe, I mean, obviously, you've got a, not that it should matter, because, if you've got a fixed caliper and pistons both sides, you shouldn't really need that floatiness. I think it's to cut down on heat transfer. I'm sure that's the main reason. Getting old. I'm sure it is. None of my motorcycles have those. Oh, maybe the KTM does, actually. No, it doesn't. Pretty sure it doesn't. Because they annoy the crap out of me, because when they get a bit worn, they rattle. And I just don't trust them. I know they're not going to break, but I just don't trust them. I'd rather one-piece brake disc. Plus, the one-piece brake disc is cheap. Oh, internet's turned out to be really crap again down here. I wonder if I can try and maybe link that one to my phone. Just bear with me a minute, because I don't want to be consuming any internet for the transmission. Just bear with me, people. I can switch the laptop across. That shouldn't be too hard. Let's see if that's any better. You guys haven't mentioned anything about quality of transmission, so I'm assuming it's good at your end. Okay, that probably will make no difference at all, but anyway, we'll see. Jeez. So, are they free to rotate? I mean, they are supposed to be floating, so I suppose so. Yes, I suppose so. Simon might give you an idea on that one. He works on a lot more road bikes than I do. Simon, been looking at the Motion Pro steering stem bearing tool. That was a mouthful. But for £150, no, that's a significant chunk of change. To be honest, it really is. If you want to email me the part number, I could find out what the trade price is on it. Maybe that is the trade price. I don't know. It might be cheaper in New Zealand. Probably not. But I can find out for you, because obviously, and that's if we've got stock in New Zealand as well. They may not even have it, but I'm happy to try for you. Jim Haynes, Honda. Ooh, 07 AAC-001A101 Honda OE push pin clip tool is amazing. And in the US, about $30. I know I sent you the SK push pin clip tool that Eric O revs about. Oh my word. Phone call. Oh, 0800 number? I don't think so. You did, and I used that tool set you sent me for the first time on camera, doing that window motor replacement on that Mazda CX-7. So it's out there, and it was very useful. It was actually brilliant. Now I'm going to go back to my workshop internet, because I've got the wheel of death now. So we'll just turn that off, turn that on. Bear with me. Still working there, aren't we? Yes, that's the one we want. Thank you. We'll go back on there. So yes, because the phone call came in, my internet stops. There, we're off again. Right. Sorry, rural internet's crap in New Zealand. It really is. Okay, going back to the comments again then. So, and you don't use it. I did use it. I used it once. Sorry, I used it once. But it was the pry bar bit that I used. Jim Haynes, these work great on the ones that don't have any slots on the outer part to pry inner parts out. These get them right out. Yeah, the ones that I work on normally have a slotted head. Oh, bends up, and you can normally wind them out with a medium-sized flat screwdriver. But I know the ones you're on about, and there's one or two of those push pins that you've got to push them through. That Honda CBR 600, I think it was, that we worked on, that did the indicators and stuff on, that had quite a few of those. And yes, I should have used it in the video, and I apologize. Maybe I just wasn't thinking. I was more on about fixing the indicators than it was taking pins out. I tend not to plan my videos very well, do I? Oh, add Lupus Umbra. Morning, Andy. Hope you had a good trip. Will it be happening on every fall? I do that trip twice a year. So the next one will be our probably November, back end of October, November. All going to plan, it would be I would leave middle of October and get home, probably the 10th of November, around that sort of date, roughly. And the reason for that, spreading it over 2 months, is it helps with my expenses. They end up on 2 separate months costing, so I have more of a budget for the trip. If I do the trip in 1 month, it usually gets a bit tight on the old card, to be honest, so I have to be careful. But if I do it the other way around and split it, then it's never a problem. Christchurch, MT Rider. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Christchurch, MT Rider. Apologies we didn't meet up. We could have done, probably. We can do it next time. Where do we get to? Oh, my word. Bear with me. Going back. Hang on. There we go. John Nuttall. Our special tool, we used a coin stroke washer and mole grips back in the BSA days. That's probably what I used to use in England, actually. I'd totally forgotten about that. Yeah, you could just use a coin and a pair of mole grips and not spend any money at all. Although, to be fair, not many coins around these days. I haven't seen coins for a very long time. But I've got plenty of washers, so that's easy enough. But I just thought, there's a dedicated tool now. Maybe we should have that for the workshop. Always nice to have new tools. But if it doesn't work very well, I'll be quite annoyed. But I can modify it. But I shouldn't have to, right? It should just work. Sergeant Dale Smith, News Network. Yes, Andy Mechanic, my friend. I added News Network to my name lately to protect me from the police here under our First Amendment. That sounds very serious. One little lady and girl, Mrs. Mechanic, is online. Dig them yourself if they don't take that long. I sent Mrs. Mechanic and Ben a project, a little mission while I was away to get those holes dug. And they did a fantastic job. Really good job. And like Mr. Clarkson would say, I don't do manual labor, right? So they did a fantastic job. And it was really good to have them already pre-dug. We'd spent a while marking them out, so we got them in exactly the right place. And it worked brilliantly. Friday was not, it was a long day. We got finished about 5 o'clock, but it wasn't a hard day. We were just pacing ourselves. And we got it all done. And we nearly ran out of builder's mix. But we had way too much cement. So we had, I think, more than half of what Ben had bought left over, which is good because we've got some other stuff to do. So it'll come in. We don't want to leave it too long, otherwise it goes a bit hard. Joe, I'll just say Joe, easy. Cops left me alone after. Oh my word. I don't want the police being involved, that's bad. Simon went a bit potato vision for a bit. Apologies. I don't know what's going on. It seems this end is good again now, so well done, One New Zealand. Why they call themselves One New Zealand, I have no idea. Vodafone was far better. Anyway, Christchurch MT Radar video quality is average. Well, that's good for here. So, again, apologies, but that's as good as it's probably going to get. JJ, sound is okay in Auckland, but the video is a bit grainy. Yeah, the video here, for me, looking on the laptop, which is a bit smaller because it's not a full-size screen, is quite acceptable for me. But and it's not going from the phone straight to the laptop, right? It's going up to somewhere and then it's coming back. So it is what it is. Simon, but thank you for the feedback. Simon, with a nut and a bolt through the bobbin, there should turn with a ratchet with some resistance. There you go. Official answer. Andy's learned something. I know that when the bikes go for a warrant of fitness here in New Zealand and they are loose and rattly, they are a fail. And I think rightly so, because, man, you don't want those popping out. That would be really bad. Jim Haynes. So thank you, Simon. Mr. Haynes, scrolling down. I thought they called them floating rotors. They let the rotor move and not transfer movement to the mount. We noticed on our race car with a floater mount, the caliper never wore loose on the car. I mean, in theory, the pistons should self-align when the brakes are applied, and they should, in theory, have the same amount of piston retraction on all 4 pistons, or 6 pistons, or however many pistons you've got, 3 either side, 2 either side. But maybe it allows, compensates for any kind of errors between the difference in misalignment. So you get, so it doesn't rub on the pads so much. Maybe. I thought it was heat transfer, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to do some reading, won't I? Is that Andy's ringtone? It was, yes. Jim Haynes, a Juice Newton moment on Andy Mechanic Live. Live, who would have thought that? Yes, exactly. It's a good ringtone. I like it. I used to have the Lego movie. Is Everything is Awesome. That just made everybody in the office laugh their heads off whenever it went off. So I had to stop that. John, Simon Roll tried that. No joy on the ZZR 1400. Ooh, this is why I'm asking. The web says yes and no. Well, I would go with Simon's viewpoint. He's worked on a lot of those bikes over the years. Simon, John Nuttall, email EBC. Their customer service is really good. That's very good advice. Yes, ask the manufacturers. They'll be able to help. Pete, the video was bad, but it's good now. Thank you, Pete. Don't know what was going on. Maybe a cloud went in front of the antenna. I have no idea. I'm hoping to get Vodafone, One New Zealand down to fettle it. I don't think it's my cable because it would be consistently bad, right? It must be signal related. And on the modem just up there, it had full bar yesterday when I checked it. So the signal strength was perfect, as strong as it can get. So it must just be the internet. Now then, Simon, I've noticed most bikes with floating discs don't use calipers with slide pins. Interesting. Sergeant Joe Smith, I went to law school. I know how to deal with the cops. Good man. It's always good to have that up your sleeve, isn't it? Because they do bully you around sometimes if you're not careful. Now then, John, talking of discs, had to price a pair for the Vauxhall Astra VXR 2013, £600 each. That is ridiculous for discs, brake discs. That's almost Unimog price. In fact, I think it's more than you. I think Unimog's, it was £800 for the pair, but that was a long time ago. So, and they were massive brake discs, big chunk of metal. Okay, I've got to the end of the comments. It's bloody cold in this workshop, actually. It's just suddenly gone really, really cold for some reason. Maybe because Ben's opened his workshop. Maybe there's more airflow. Don't know. Jim Haynes, I was thinking more if the rotor is not perfectly smooth and parallel, so the only thing moving is the rotor not shaking the handlebar. No, the rotor has to have the same thickness all the way around very accurately, and it doesn't want to have any run out either. But maybe under heavy braking, maybe it distorts a bit. Maybe it compensates for that a little bit, and maybe reduces the pulsations through the lever. Maybe, but I still think it was to do with heat transfer. I could be wrong. Right, the pie must be ready. Let's go and get the pie. Okay, turn around, 3, 2, 1. The signal's probably going to get crap again. My apologies. Boom. It doesn't like it when there's lots of movement on the screen, so we'll do it in slow-mo. How's that? Oh, yes, my back is quite cold today. Okay, we're going in. I've no idea on the quality of the video now. It will bounce back at some point, so we've had a bit of a rise, look. The pastry's risen. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Got my pie. Got nowhere to put it, so we'll stick it on top of the cup. Safe zone. Yes. Oh, but by the way, Ben's been in the workshop, and he was lathing He was lathing stuff, and I've got lots of lathing stuff to do today, actually. I've got some more. In fact, I can show you. Bear with me. So a few weeks ago, before my trip, I had to make an... Jesus, there's a hole in the floor. I had to make an insert. Image isn't too bad. I had to make an insert to go into an airbox to allow the clamp to be clamped up. This was the prototype. It was a little bit too small, but I've got 2 more of these to make. But they need to have an 89.5 OD on this side. The internal's irrelevant, and it needs to be a little bit longer than that. So I'll remeasure that when I finish it. And again, the little flange here, the little top hat piece, the thickness of that, again, it's not that important. It just, you push it down from the inside, you've got to warm the plastic up, and it pushes down, and it gives you a really good purchase then for your clamps. You can get nice and tight without distorting the plastic. And it worked brilliantly. So I've got some of those to do, 2 to make, I think. It's quite a lot of work, a lot of machining work. Okay, quick spin around the pie. As you can see, the pastry's risen around there. Look, I'm going to be quick because it's going to get cold as this pie. Under there. So structural integrity is pretty good, to be fair. We're going in, and I'm going to go in on the raised section. In fact, I'm going to go in just there because there's a crack. Okay. Nice. And perfect temperature. Not too hot to burn your mouth, but nice and hot. Where do we get to? Num, 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 num. Sergeant Joe Smith, Andy Mechanic is super awesome. Subscribe. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate that. I'm pretty sure everybody on here is subscribed, but that's good. Because we don't get many viewers. Oh, 24. 24 on the live stream is not bad for me. It usually gets up to, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 views after a few weeks. It's not a big part of the channel, but it's important to us. And it's important to me. I enjoy it. Now then, add Lupus Umbra. Awesome. 2 trips a year. 1 in the fall and 1 in the spring. I think there's a joke there somewhere, lol. Maybe. Joe, bring back the girls in the boots. I do miss the girls in the boots, to be fair. Yes. Yes. Mrs. Mechanic's watching, so be careful what you say. That's really nice. It actually is really tasty. So, we should start to score it, really. So, taste for the flavour and contents is really good, actually. I prefer that to one of the breakfast pies. I am going to give that, believe it or not, a 10. I think it's really good. Okay, structure fully partners, too soon for that. Runability check, we can do that now. Okay. Nope, hang on, 5-second rule. There we go. Okay, it's not going to go anywhere, is it? It's rock solid. That egg white has really hardened everything up. There's no real gravy in there. It's rock solid. That steak and bacon goes down well. So it gets a 10 for that one. Meat quality. Okay, well, I need to get... Oh, there's definitely onion in there. I need to get to a chunk of steak. So bear with me. Okay. There is a chunk of steak. I'm going in. Okay. This is just the steak. Big chunk. Not gristly at all. Not prime steak. I mean, you're not going to get that in a pie. Ooh. That was hot. Okay, meat quality, I'll give it an 8. pretty damn good. For a pie, pretty good. Now, pastry to contents ratio. So how much filling have we got? Well, the base is pretty thin. It's about maybe 4 millimeters thick as the base. The sides actually are not bad. Have a look at that, look. The sides are pretty thin. Even the joint up there is pretty thin. It's not a big blob of pastry on there. And the lid's quite light as well. And there's a reasonable chunk of contents, to be fair. It's not bad. So, what does it get out of 10? I think it gets an 8. We'll give it an 8 for that. We're scoring well today, aren't we? Now, availability logistics. Bake Shack pies are available in many supermarkets, corner shops, that kind of thing. Because you can get them in supermarkets, you get them online. So they're about as readily available as you can get a pie here in New Zealand. So good. So, it's going to score pretty high. Order it online, corner shops, some petrol stations. Happy Shopper, where that one came from. No, petrol station that came from, I think. That came from the petrol station, from a gas petrol station. So, 9. I can't think of how you would really have a pie more available than that one. I mean, it's not in every shop. How could it be? Right, taste struck pastry rating. Well, a nice chunk of pastry just here. Crispy. Not gooey. But not over dry. It's actually quite nice pastry. It's all right, is that? I'll give it an 8. Still tasty when cold? I don't know yet. It's not cold. Packaging design. Okay, so it's a paper bag, but it's printed. The ink is crap. I keep saying this every time we do a Bake Shack. The ink just rubs off on the packaging. They need to sort that shit out. It's distinctive. Doesn't have a window. Can't see what you're buying. But it is a distinctive packaging for sure. And they haven't spent a lot of money on the packaging because they're trying to keep the pie price down. Quite a few pie companies in New Zealand have gone broke recently. So there's obviously not a lot of profit in making pies. Or they're doing something significantly wrong. Oh, there's a burp. Remember that one? There's another one. 2 burps. Okay. Just settlement, I think. So what we're going to give them? 6? We've seen a lot better than that, haven't we? We'll give them a 6. I think 6 is pretty fair. Now, is it recyclable? It is. And they even tell us, well done Bake Shacks. It's got the recyclable thing on there. It's just paper, so it's fully recyclable, and they've told us they get a 10. Well done, lads. Okay, another bite required. This is a nice pie. I will definitely have this pie again. Without a doubt. Look at that. Nice bit of eggy in there. Okay. Pie server attractiveness. Welcome. You know, do you feel welcome in the pet? Yes, you do. She always says hello, good morning. How are you, Andy? All good, thank you. Sometimes you can pick her on a bad day, right? Every now and again, she's clearly had a very late night and there's been no time to do any prep work before going to work. And it's not as good as it is when she's spent a bit of time getting herself sorted out. Just saying. But I'll give her an 8. How's that? We'll give her an 8. Mrs. Mechanic's going to laugh her head off now. And Mrs. Mechanic, you can't tell her I said that. It'd be very rude, wouldn't it? Okay, so we're not too far off. Fully partners, we could do that one. There's hardly any pastry on the floor. We did lose a big chunk, but I managed to eat it. I would give it a 9 for that. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. Right, going in again. Oh, look at that. Massive bit of egg. So nice. Okay. We've got so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 3 more scores to go. Still tasty when cold. Well, eggs aren't too bad when they're cold. Steak's fine when it's cold. Bacon's great when it's cold. I think it won't be a bad pie cold, to be fair. I would give it an estimated 8, I think. It's not going to be slimy. It hasn't got mushrooms in it. I think the only thing going against it, I'm pretty sure there is some onion in there. Cold onion, not the best. There you go. The last bit. That's all right, is that? Coffee's cold. Okay. Stuffability score. Well, this is a pretty average size pie. I think it's probably about 200 grams. Yes, it is. 200 grams on there. So it's bang on the average size. Am I still hungry? I'm not, actually. That was actually a really nice breakfast. So it gets 10. It satisfied me, but I'm not overstuffed. Perfect. Post pie heartburn. We've had 2 burps. So we'll knock off 2 points for that. So it gets 8 for that. And is that everything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ben's doing something dangerous. I've just heard a blowtorch fire up. Little bastard. He's going to blow my workshop up. Okay. We now need to do the scores and see just how well this pie is done. But looking at the numbers, there's a lot of high scores in there. This could be a very top scoring pie. Okay, let's find out. Bum, bum, bum. Turn you round. But we've done a few pies over the years now, haven't we, eh? Okay. So, this is a Bake Shack. A steak. Egg. And bacon. That's a pretty good combination, I think, really. It's worked very well. Okay. We have got 29, 37, 45, 54, 62, 70, 76, 86, geez, 86, 94, 100, holy crap, 104, what? That's 112. 1, 1, 2. That's massive. Huge score, but it scored highly on all of these. It only really dropped a little bit on the packaging design. If they spruced that up, they'd probably be, yeah, it could well be the leading pie. What the hell? This is ridiculous. Okay. 112. Where will that be on the board? I still haven't got any more magnetic things, so just bear with me. So 112. That's madness. Oh man, it smashed it. Look, 107 is the leader at the moment. It's absolutely smashed it. Who would have thought? That's ridiculous. 112. I really wasn't expecting that from that pie this morning. There you go. Look, there's all your scores. So taste, stroke, flavour, 10. Structure, folded partners, 9. Runnability, 10 out of 10. Meat quality, 8. Pie contents to pastry ratio, 8. Availability, 9. Pastry taste rating, 8. Still tasty when cold, 8. Packaging design, okay, 6. Recyclable score, 10. Post pie heartburn, 8. Stuffability score, 10. Pie server attractiveness, that's Simon's category, 8. Total, 112. I hope my arithmetic's correct. I really do. Wow. Who would have thought? Bloody good. Right, turn you around. 3, 2, 1, boom. And I want to get you nice and level because you're not level at the moment. There we go. Okay. Right. I am very impressed. And I never for 1 minute thought that ooh, 111. 111 now. So that was post pie heartburn is 7. Lost a mark. But still, 111 is a very, very good score. And from a Bake Shack pie, well known for being pretty average pies, these lads pulled it out of the hat this morning. Is it going to be consistent? I don't know. I'll have to have a few more and report back. But that particular pie, happy with that. Did the trick. Right. Sorry, I got carried away on the pie there. There's going to be lots and lots of comments again. How long have we been going? Hour and 11. Jeez. Two cigarettes. This is the last one of the live stream. I only have 3 cigarettes in the live stream. So I'm told. Okay. I'm going to get told off now. I can see a telly off bit there. Yes, bring back the girls of the boots. I really would like to bring back. I'll have another assistant in the workshop. I really would. I just need to convince Mrs. Mechanic. And I think she'd be okay with it. I think she'd be fine if Holly came back. She likes Holly. Holly was one of my students at Unitech. She's very well. She's done very well for herself now, I must admit. And she was good on the tools as well. So let's see if we can get Holly back. It's all down to Mrs. Mechanic. I don't want to load up the pressure on her because she'll feel bad about that, but she has to be comfortable with it. I'm sure you can understand. I mean, imagine yourself bringing a Holly home into your workshop, and there's your wife, and she's wearing 6-inch stilettos and spray-on clothing, Mr. Young, or whoever it is. What are you doing in the workshop with her? You know, I mean, there's going to be a bit of a worry going on there, isn't there? So I can understand it. I really can. But maybe, just maybe, I can get it over the line. We'll see. Now then, where do we get to? JJ, when you use a lathe, it's called turning, not lathing. I know it's called turning or machining. I know that. But every now and again, it's quite nice to have your own words for things, isn't it? It's maybe a comfort zone. Do a bit of lathing, you know? Because people then know that you're going to be working on a lathe, because you can do machining using various pieces of equipment. Maybe not so much turning. But I just like the word lathing. Can I coin a new word? Who knows? But thanks, JJ. Joe, who wants the tool? Here we go. Here we go. Yes. You're going to put it out to a vote, aren't you? I can see it happening. So please send in your requests via email to andymechanic@live.co.uk, or feel free to put a post on my Facebook, if you like, and tag me in as to why you think the Tool Girls should come back to the Andy Mechanic show. You'll give me some ammunition for my discussion with Mrs. Mechanic, won't you? It would be very helpful. You know, maybe you're going to cover an aspect that I would massively overlook that will be a huge benefit to all of us. Emails greatly received. And I'll no doubt give you a shout out as well. So, Pete, come on guys, hit the like. What's up, guys? 15 likes, 19 views. Come on, there's 4 of you that haven't even clicked the like button yet. What the hell? I do so well, even when I'm knackered. John Nuttall, has your lathe been fixed? No, not yet. We've got some ideas. Simon said I might be able to adjust the bimetallic strip in the switch. Today might be the day, to be honest. I might get fed up with having to wait for it. But it was getting a lot better last time I used it. It was only maybe 30-second gap and I could go again. So, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? Anyway, right. No, don't say it, Andy. Because we've been talking about tool girls. Don't say it. I won't say it. I'll let you just think it. Pete, bacon makes everything better. It did very well in that pie. It was really nice. Christchurch, MT Rider, second that, Pete. Can't go wrong with a bit of bacon. It just works, doesn't it? JJ, just had bacon and poached egg on toast with HP sauce myself. Yum. That is one of my most favourite meals. You can't beat a bit of HP sauce. Jim Kay found some HP sauce in the States and he loves it on his bacon butties. He couldn't believe how well it tasted. He was like, man, this is just amazing stuff. Where has it been in my life? We're very lucky in England to have HP sauce. The Real Daz, 03, a new leader, possibly. Jim Haynes, I looked up the rotor deal by somebody who makes both styles, and we are both right. Plus weight reduction. Wow, weight reduction. Yeah. Rotational mass, unsprung weights. Yeah, all helps, doesn't it? Every gram counts when you're on a race bike. Not that I ride race bikes. John, no, the score was done. 112 stands. Oh, but I have altered other ones in the past where we've done the scoring, and a bit of heartburn comes along, or there's a big burp, and I have brought them down as well. And it was only a few seconds after we scored it. I think 111 is still a phenomenally good score, and it's still way ahead on all the other pies. I mean, I can't believe it. I really can't, because I wasn't expecting it to taste as good as it did, clearly, and it did taste good. I wish you could all have one of those pies and you could give me your feedback. I thought it was pretty good. Now then, so thank you, John. Do appreciate it. Jim Haynes, all I have to do is look in the mirror to realize a pretty young girl would have no interest, and my wife would probably feel safe knowing that. Exactly. I have exactly the same thoughts completely. So we're both on the same page there. I mean, I'm not the best looking guy in the world. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. Connor K. Andy, just as sure as tool girls are beautiful, I will always click the like. You see, Connor, great bit of wording there, matey. Thank you for that. Pete, Andy, you're right. 111. The score is 111. And I think that's a fair score. I don't want to falsify it at all. I want to give it a fair, an accurate score. And it earned it. It really did. John Nuttall, then the server you can give one. Yes, the server. Funny. Jim Haynes, having said that, we all miss Hannah. Hannah was a bit of a live wire, wasn't she? She's living in Australia now. I have no idea what she's doing. No idea at all. But yeah, made some good videos. It was good fun. She was hard work, I'll give you that. Anyway, so what's the plan, Andy, for the next few days? Well, just to quickly reiterate, today's going to be a relatively easy day. I'm doing some turning on the lathe, making some more of these, but slightly different. And that's a lot of material to take out on a little Boxford. It takes ages, but we get there in the end. I do start off with a hole saw of about, well, it's not actually a hole saw, it's an end mill that I've got that fits in the lathe. that's about 34 mil. So that gets me in and then I'm away. But it makes a lot of swarf all over the place. As you can see, the lathe's covered in it already. So I'll have to tidy that up first. How's the old lathe coming? I was talking to Ben about that yesterday because obviously we bought the Myford wood lathe, and it's completely stalled out at the moment. It's something I haven't thought about for a while. The bed's over there behind my main pillar drill that doesn't work at the moment. That's something else I've got to fix. And all the bits are in these drawers under the main bench. Some of them are already cleaned. Mrs. Mechanic's cleaned them. They're all laid out. Some other bits still need to be cleaned. I still need to get a pulley that's worn out, that's proving hard to source. Can't get a new one anymore. So I've got to find a good second-hand one. I also damaged the end piece. I forget what they're called. That bit. I damaged that during the video. So what am I going to do? I don't know. It might be because the bed's quite badly worn as well. In the main machining area of the bed, it's quite worn down. So I was thinking they're not that expensive, so I might look around for another one that's got a decent bed on it and make one good one out of two. I've come across quite a few of those lathes around New Zealand, and that might be the best option because I don't want to restore it and get it, because a worn bed is always going to be a worn bed. It's going to be inaccurate, that kind of stuff. So maybe, just maybe, I know I can get the bed machined and I can pack it out just like Thingamajig did on his videos. I've forgotten his name now. Does the Land Rover stuff at the moment. Really nice guy. Forgotten his name. Apologies. So that might be another option, and that would get me. Hopefully, the pulley will be. I'll check that if the pulley's good and the lathe bed's good, then it's worth the money because I would pay more than that to get the bed machined, and for a decent pulley. So it will give me lots of other spares as well, and it'll give me the headstock. Is that what it's called? Bit at the end that slides up and down for your drill bits and things. It would give me a good one of those. So that might be the best option, but it's still work in progress. I've not found one yet and had the budget at the same time to buy it. So once I do, I think it'll be good to go. And I would really like to get it back together because it will go in Ben's workshop and he'll have his own little lathe and he'll use it a lot because he comes in here a lot and uses my Boxford. Can you make a new pulley on the Boxford? Probably could, but I don't know. Maybe not that skill, to be honest. Maybe. I have got a big chunk of aluminium there, actually. So maybe. But that doesn't get around the problem with the bed. The bed is significantly worn, and remember, the previous owner ground two big chunks out of the bed so he could get a brake disc in there to machine down. I mean, come on. And the original one, the one that I've got now, that only cost me $250. It was cheap as chips because Dave knew it had a lot of faults. So there's still a bit of money in the pot to maybe buy a second lathe for the parts for the bed and other bits and pieces that I'm short of. So I think that might be the way forward. We'll have to see. Pete, Andy, is it hard when you have too many irons in the fire? It is. I love taking on projects. I really do. And the problem is sometimes they fall to the wayside for whatever reason. I mean, the Triumph, as you well know, has pretty much stagnated. I'm not going to be putting the engine back together or the gearbox back together. There's no parts. Nothing's happened. It's been a very long time. The bike just needs to go back. But the time at the moment, it's not the right time to take it back or have that final discussion with the owner. But it does need to go back. There's no doubt about it. The go-kart, I really want to get that finished. It's not a massive job. I'm looking forward to just welding up the front end and then I can finish the frame and then we can fit the DR200 motor to it and start putting it back together. It shouldn't be that hard to do. I've just I'm just away a lot, and I'm doing my construction of me side ports and sheds and concreting and things, and I really want to get that done this year. And then I'll have more space, and I can just focus more on those projects again. I think because I only have a very limited amount of time at home. It's just, and it seems to be getting less, not more, which is ridiculous. I'm very much looking forward to retiring, and then I can just go full time in the workshop, and everything will just speed up, and it'll be great. And who knows, Mrs. Mechanic might even edit some of my videos for me, which would be even better. Jim Haynes, don't forget, a lot of the world calls them drill presses, not pillar drills, the parts. Yes, drill. They call it a drill press here in New Zealand as well. I believe that's the American terminology. In England, we call it the pillar drill. But you're right, and I have searched for both. I think the only option I've got is to repair the old pulley, which isn't hard. It's a job that I can do, and I will do. I just need to source a new bearing and just pull my finger out and get it fixed. Because at the moment we've been using Priscilla, the little one that we got given, the little Dyco. Brilliant little drill, but I'm a bit conscious about, the motor and its performance, and I don't want to wear it out. But it is really nice to use. It's quiet, it's accurate. It's actually a pleasure to use. It's a really good addition to the workshop. But that one is much more powerful and is better for the batches. When we're drilling hundreds or thousands of holes, that's the one that I like to use, not the little one, because it'll kill it. So horses for courses, right? All the other option is I just save up and go and buy a new one. But there's nothing wrong with it apart from that one pulley. So why not fix it? It's silly not to fix it, right? And you can't just keep throwing money at things when you know that you can fix it. It's the principle of the thing, isn't it? Well, what are we on now? So what was it? Okay, so this next week. So tomorrow, Monday, I embark on another 4-day trip. Ironically, I'm heading south again, almost to Wellington. I'll end up at Upper Hutt. That's as far south as I go. I've got to go to Palmerston North tomorrow, Upper Hutt Tuesday, just down the road, because I'm going to base myself at Greytown, just up the road to Carterton on Wednesday. And then on Thursday morning, early starts, I've got to get to Dannevirke for 9 o'clock. And it's a good hour and a half away, if not 2 hours realistically. For 9 o'clock, I'll be away from there about 12:30. And I've got to drive home, so I'll get home about tea time. So that's my Monday to Thursday schedule already packed up and ready to go. Friday, I've got Friday. It's a long weekend here in New Zealand. I've got the Friday off, day in lieu. Saturday, Sunday. Monday is a bank holiday, King's birthday, I believe it is. And then I've taken the Tuesday off. So I've got 5 days off, which will be brilliant. And during that time, Ben has already earmarked me for removing the diesel, the 4.2 diesel, from the fun bus. That's my patrol that I brought from the UK. The vehicle itself is off the road. It's way too rusty now to ever go back on the road. So he's asked if we can put that engine in his patrol pickup, his ute, because he's got a 4.2 petrol in at the moment, which is extremely expensive to run. And the vehicle at the moment is going through certification, as you well know, with all the suspension, the gearbox, and bits and pieces. And he says, look, now's the time to do it. And he's absolutely right. Now is the time to do it. So we've got to pull our finger out and get it done. So there'll be some videos on that, I'm sure, because people do like the patrol videos. And then it's back to work. I think that week, the rest of that week, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I have to go up to Auckland at some point. Probably staying up there for one night. So I'll be going up. That'll be a 2-day trip. And then I'll be working from home for the last day. And then it's not far off that I go to Sydney for a week. It could be the following week or the week after. I can't remember, to be honest. So yeah, there's still lots going on. Lots of travel still happening. But I've got a nice 5-day period at home, which will be great. So there you go. That's pretty much where we're at. I've had my 3 cigarettes. I've had my pie. We've done a tool. We've had a wander around the workshop, been outside, look at the new posts that have gone in. Very, very, very pleased with those. They were pretty heavy putting them in. It was a good job that Ben was here. I couldn't have done it on my own. No way. No way could I have lifted those into the holes on my own. It would have been a catastrophe. I was considering using Trevor the tractor and putting a couple of blocks either side and using the forks to steady it, but it was a lot easier with Ben being here and a lot quicker as well. And we got there. Very happy. Okay, crew, I think we're there. Thank you very much for joining on the live stream. I really, really appreciate it. Apologies about the quality of the image. It's been pretty good most of the time, I think, this time around. Hopefully Vodafone will put, One New Zealand will pull the finger out and get it sorted in the next couple of weeks. And I will see you again with regards to live streams in a couple of weeks. There may well be a video goes out before then as well. Okay, crew, thank you for your support. Do appreciate it. Have a good couple of weeks. I'll see you then. Cheers. Over and out.